I'm going to try and keep this video short, but I just wanted to include a little bit of what I'm doing in here. You know how I mentioned on this motorcycle that I was following the stripes, the design, and I have to do that so that everything lines up when it's back together. It would be different if I had the motorcycle, and then I don't have time for that anyway, because then it's constantly taken apart and putting together. But this is a nice design. It's just the color combination we want to change. And what I think is going to be neat about it, this thing I think models a CVO, and one of the features of the CVO is this particular paint scheme. I mean, they're all kind of hand done from the factory. When I say hand done, they're all slightly different, but it's all the same design. So I think this is going to really be unique, because people are going to be like, hey, what's up with that? Because everything about it's going to be the same, except for this bike isn't available in the colors that this one's going to be in. So that'll make it kind of special. But I just want you to see what I've done and how it ended up the way that it did. Now, if you got a steady hand, what I'm doing is no big deal. If you don't, don't do it. But as you can see, let me stand this up. As you can see, I have outlined, and where you see those little, where it may not look like I got it perfectly, whoops, I dropped the camera. Where there's some areas where it may not look like I followed the line exactly the same, it's because from the factory it's not right, which nobody notices it. But trust me, when somebody knows, I'll put it to you this way, the factory can get away with that. I wouldn't get away with that. Somebody would say something about it. But anyway, that's what's going on here, and I'm going to try and get as many pieces, oops, gotta get her back in the camera shot here. I'm going to try and get as many pieces done as I can today. All right, guys, I've put 2 coats of paint on those motorcycle parts, and I realized that the GoPro was acting up. I really wish Apple would make their own GoPro. This phone works great, although it's stupid expensive, so I'm hesitant to take it in the booth. But I'll go in and show you what I've done so far, and try and film as much of it as I can with this phone. All right, so I got 2 coats of the red on. You can see where I taped up the stripe and everything. 2 coats of red on the fairing, and 2 coats on the side pieces. Translucent it is, but that really is what makes this color special, is this one extra step. Okay, now this base that I put on is dry, good and dry, so now I got to mask it up. Everything from here down is going to get painted black. And from this line up, it's going to get that charcoal metallic. So I've got the tape on this line and cover all of this up and paint this black on these side covers. And on the fairing here, I've got to mask everything from this line here up so I can paint that black. I'll put it on time lapse so don't burn up so much of a video here. I've decided on this one, it's different than the gas tank, that I'm gonna go ahead and tape up inside of this fine line tape. That way it's gonna be easier when I paint this black and this gray. I'll just be able, it'd be easier for me to mask these two sections up. So it's gonna take a few minutes, but I'm gonna tape this area up. I'll show you as I go. You kind of see what I got going here. I'll put it on time lapse as I do the rest of it. Okay, you can see what I got there. Now I'm going to continue to do that on the rest of the pieces, and then I'll mask off this and paint this section black, and it'll be a whole lot easier. So when I get this section painted black, then I can just flip my paper around, cover this section up. It's just easier on this one the way this stripe's set up. And there's the other side. Now to get the fairing done. Now this fairing's bigger, but it's basically the same thing. Okay, I'm not going to film taping the other side of it up. It'd be the same thing. But I don't know if you could tell because I filmed that in time lapse. The reason why it's so important to use that vinyl fine line is the fine line is what I outlined all this in. It doesn't matter that these lines aren't straight on this yellow masking tape. What's important is that fine line tape is, and it is. The reason why we use that is because it'll bend corners. Now, I don't know if you noticed from the time lapse, you noticed that I kept having to tear short pieces of this masking tape. It's crepe tape is what it is, actually. It's masking tape, but like crepe paper, because it will not bend that inside radius. I can go all the way around the outside radius, no problem. And this one here, this was a slight enough radius that it went around that fine. But you notice the little wrinkles that it puts on the inside? That's what you have to avoid because paint can get under there. Now these will be fine, but I just wanted to take a minute and explain that to you. All right, now I'm going to take masking paper and cover this top section of this thing up so we can paint the black. All right, okay, that's taped up. Now, the reason why I taped this up, if you notice, let me come over to these pieces. This red overspray, it's from base. There's no line there at all. I didn't tape it up. We just let the overspray flow. Now, this area is small. I'm not gonna tape this one up with masking paper like I did that one. When I paint this black, matter of fact, I might even blow a coat of black over this. It's not going to matter. The reason why I masked this up is because this big flat area, the overspray from the black would end up laying up here and it would make a rough texture. It would end up being like dry powder and I would have to keep tacking it off. So that's why I've done that. And as you can tell, it only took, a matter of moments to get that masked up. These I don't have to do that with. So basically now I'm to the point where I'm going to wipe these down and tack them off, put some paint in the gun, and get some black on. All right, everything's been wiped off, tacked off, and I'm going to put the first coat of black paint on. I did get my GoPro working, but I already filmed on the phone, so it's just easier for me to just keep on going with that. That's why you're not getting close-ups. Okay, before I put the third and probably final coat of base on, this is something you have to do every once in a while. You can probably see me every once in a while stop and push some tape down. That's just par for the course. This was starting to lift up a little bit. I don't want any paint to get underneath there. If it does, we'll have to touch it up later, but that's why there's a fresh piece of tape on there. And like, see that's coming up. And it's not really going to hurt anything. Remember, I only got this paper on there to keep the overspray buildup off on this part. Now that little situation there, that could potentially contaminate the red stripe that's underneath of there. But we'll hope for the best. Here we go. Third and final coat of black. Okay. Now that black is dry enough that I can tape on it, and now I've got to back tape or reverse tape this, cover all of this black up so that I don't get the gray overspray on there. And this time I will be masking these off, obviously, so I don't get gray over that black paint. So here we go. There you go, guys. You get the idea of what's going to take place. It's that simple. Of course, this is only 3 colors. Can you imagine when I do one with 4 and 5, 6 different colors, how many layers of tape, and you get confused after a while. But this one's relatively simple. I'm going to put it on time lapse while I tape the rest of it up. All right. Now we got the black masked up. Now, if I was spraying something with a higher air pressure, I would go through the hassle of taping underneath of this to keep any of the gray from seeping up onto the black. But I'm spraying with such low air pressure, it's not going to be a problem. And I'm not going to be aiming in any direction towards it, so it shouldn't be a problem. Let me go mix up some gray and get painting. All right. Everything's been wiped off with a tack rag. Ready to start putting a coat of gray on here. coat number 2. That I just walked out of there. That was the second coat of gray. Everything looks good. Probably is only going to take one more coat, but I'll check it out. And I'm not going to bother filming that and keep this short as possible. All right, now that gray paint is good and dry. Base coat. I've got to untape it. First, we'll get this masking paper off of there. This is the fun part. Untaping, even though that's a rough line, it's always rewarding. Now, this is the real reward, but hopefully nothing, I don't run into a situation while I'm filming this. Of course, I could always edit it out, but I wouldn't do that. I like it when I pull the masking tape off. I strive to pull the fine line off separately because you can do a better job. So that's what, like, that piece came off on its own. So let's see here. Hopefully I got that foam position just right there. See, there we go. Oh yeah. All right. There we go. There you go. Now, there's no need to film it, but I'll go around and untake the rest of it, and then we'll mix up some clear and put some shine on it. Now I'm going to blow and tack these things off. Picture of them. Just give you a little glance of them before we clear them. It actually looks pretty cool with that matte finish on it too. And I could spray it with flat clear, but we don't want to do that. As good as it looks like this, it'll look really awesome shiny. I'll tell you one thing that would be kind of cool, if I taped it up and did shiny from this ridge straight down and left the gray like a satin finish. Oh well, that's another video. I'm probably not going to have I'm not going to have this camera in here when I clear it, just because I'm going to have so much air pressure and so much clear floating around. I don't want to getting all over the camera. But I'll set it up outside the booth. Okay, guys, the camera's outside of the booth. Sorry about that. It's just the way it is. Here we go. First coat of clear. Okay, it's been a little over 5 minutes. I'm gonna go in and check it. If it's ready for another coat, I'm gonna put another coat on. It needs a couple more minutes. I'm really putting it on heavy, and where it had all those tape lines for the different colors, the clear will actually hang on that like a gutter, and it can only hang there for so long, then it'll run. So I want it to be good and set up before, I want it real good and finger slick is what they call it. It's when I can run my finger across it without it sticking to my finger, and I don't want any of this stringy, I don't want it sticking and pulling away from the panel at all, if that makes sense. I'm still waiting to go in and put the second coat on. I just went in there and checked it again. Like I just said a second ago, I'm really putting it on heavy, and what I'm trying to avoid, is my students will understand this, is a solvent pop. And a solvent pop is when that clear skims over on top. Like if I were to go in there too soon and lay another heavy coat of clear on top of it, the solvents that are in that first coat wouldn't have a chance to have escaped. And as it sets up, those solvents would end up breaking through the second one, leaving a pop. And it's a pain to fix, and we don't want it to happen to start with. So I'm gonna give it another good 5 minutes to avoid that problem. Okay, it should be more than ready, but I am gonna check it before I start. Here we go. Okay, time for another coat. Okay, they look great right now. As long as they don't run in the floor, they look great. I'm happy with that. I'll take the camera in there after a while and give you a shot of them. Hopefully I can get this video uploaded tonight. All right. Well, there we go. It turned out really, really nice. I wanted to take a minute and film a little outro. I know most of my videos end all abruptly. I don't have a whole lot of time to be editing these things, and it's not a monetary channel, so I'm not making any money off of this. I just do it for my students and for your entertainment, basically. I hope you're learning something. I really, it's nice when you guys will add a comment or something, and it lets me know that at least you're learning something. I appreciate that, and I hope you're enjoying this. Thanks for watching.